ever stop and think about what the actual instruction manual for, well, everything looks like? I mean, from a giant redwood tree down to the tiniest little microbe. There's this fundamental code that's running the show, and today we're going to crack that code. We're going to learn the language of life itself.
Yeah, if DNA could talk, that's exactly what it would shout from the rooftops. It's not just some random molecule, right? It's the absolute foundation of who we are. It's this incredible chemical legacy passed down from one generation to the next. And there it is, the star of our show, the iconic double helix. You've seen this shape a million times. Think of it like the ultimate biological hard drive. It's the vault, the bank, where all the genetic information is stored, the master blueprint for building and running an entire organism. It's all in there.
So that's the big question, right? We know there's a code, but what's it actually written in? What are the letters, the words? To figure that out, we've got to follow the information, see how the cell actually brings this code to life. And this whole flow, this process, it actually has a pretty grand name: the central dogma. It sounds complicated, but really, it's just the fundamental rulebook in molecular biology for how you turn stored information into actual real-world action inside our cells.
And it's this really elegant three-step dance. So first you've got the DNA. That's the master blueprint, right? Locked away for safekeeping. Then the cell makes a temporary working copy of a specific instruction, and that's RNA. And finally, that RNA copy is used as a template to build the final product, proteins. And proteins are the little molecular machines that do basically all the work in our bodies. Blueprint to copy to machine.
And here you see that core principle laid out visually. DNA makes RNA, and RNA makes protein. See those arrows? That flow is one of the most important concepts in all of biology. It's the assembly line that turns the potential stored in your genes into the physical reality of, well, you.
Okay, so if DNA and RNA are these massive instruction manuals, what are the individual letters made of? It's time to zoom in. We're going from the 30,000-foot view of the grand plan all the way down to the tiny, tiny components it's built from.
And the answer is this little guy, the nucleotide. The best way to think of it is like a single Lego brick. You know, by itself, it's pretty simple, but when you start linking millions, even billions of them together in a very specific order, that's when you can build these incredibly complex, information-packed structures like DNA and RNA.
All right, let's take that Lego brick and break it down. If you look at the diagram, you'll see every single nucleotide has 3 parts. First, there's a phosphate group. That's the bit with the P right in the middle. That's connected to this 5-sided ring, which is a type of sugar. And then attached to that sugar is the really important part, the nitrogenous base. This base, this is the actual letter in our genetic alphabet. So let's really focus in on those bases, because honestly, they're the heart of the whole system. They are what carry all the information.
And here they are, the 5 letters that write the story of every living thing. Now I know their chemical structures look a little complex here, but get this, all of life, every single organism, is written with just these 5 molecules: adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and uracil. A, G, C, T, and U. That's it. That's the entire alphabet.
Now, here's something really cool. These letters, they actually come in 2 different sizes. You've got adenine and guanine. Those are the purines. See how they have 2 rings? They're the bigger ones. Then you have cytosine, thymine, and uracil, the pyrimidines, which are smaller, with just 1 ring. And this size difference is absolutely critical. It ensures that when they pair up to form the rungs of the DNA ladder, every single rung is the exact same width. It keeps the whole structure stable and uniform. Okay, so we've talked about the letters, but what about the paper they're written on? Let's shift our focus to the other 2 parts of our nucleotide, that sugar and the phosphate, and see how they build the backbone of the whole structure. And this is where we get to the key differences between our master blueprint, DNA, and that working copy, RNA. At a chemical level, it really just boils down to 2 main things that set them apart.
First up, the sugar. This slide puts them right next to each other so you can see. On the left, RNA uses a sugar called ribose. On the right, DNA uses deoxyribose. Can you spot the difference? It's tiny. Deoxyribose is just missing 1 little oxygen atom. That's literally what deoxy means, without oxygen. And this tiny change is what gives them their full names: ribonucleic acid, or RNA, and deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA.
The second big difference is a simple letter swap in the alphabet. So DNA uses the base thymine, or T. But when the cell makes an RNA copy, it swaps out every T for a very similar base called uracil, or U. It seems like a minor change, but it's a really clever chemical tag that helps the cell's machinery instantly tell the difference between the permanent master plan and the disposable temporary copy.
Okay, wow, we have gone deep into the molecular weeds here, but this isn't just some abstract chemistry lesson, I promise. Understanding this code, down to the last atom, gives us the incredible power to step in and actually improve human health.
So why does any of this matter? I mean, who cares about the difference between ribose and deoxyribose, or a T and a U? Well, it matters because it allows us to design incredibly smart medicines.
The answer is we can make fakes, seriously. By knowing the exact shape and chemistry of these building blocks, scientists can design synthetic versions. They're called analogs, and these molecular imposters can do amazing things. They can stop cancer cells in their tracks, they can block viruses like HIV from copying themselves, and they can even help manage the immune system so a person's body doesn't reject a new organ. It's an incredibly powerful strategy.
So here you can see the chemical structures of some of these medical hacks. Let's take 5-fluorouracil. It's designed to look almost identical to the natural letters U or T. A rapidly dividing cancer cell will see it, grab it, and try to use it to build new DNA. But that tiny chemical change, that little F for fluorine, acts like a wrench thrown into the gears. It completely jams up the cell's replication machinery, grinding that disease process to a halt. It's a brilliant way to hack the code for our own benefit.
So when you really think about it, the code of life isn't just something for us to read and admire from a distance. It's a language. And as we become more and more fluent, as we learn its letters, its grammar, its structure, we gain this almost unbelievable ability to edit the story of disease, and hopefully to start rewriting it for a much healthier future for all of us.